I can feel the pistol forming in my chest.
Hey everyone, we're with Dion Al, we're with MYRNE, and he just threw down an amazing B2B with Manila Killa at Countdown New Year's Eve 2023. Tell us more about that experience actually. Like, how did you feel playing Countdown and how was that experience for you overall?
That felt really surreal. I think, well, for the first part, it was my first ever Insomniac Festival that I got directly booked for with a longtime friend. And I think this B2B was special because both of us have been going through, creative renewals over the past 3-4 years. And to have it culminate on a really nice set on the main stage felt really natural to us and also just felt like a long time coming. So very happy that it happened, very happy it went well.
That's awesome. I love that you said it felt natural. Because sometimes I feel like, when you do B2B for the first time, especially this is the first Insomniac Festival, right? Sometimes folks feel like, oh no, like I got like this nerve-wracking, whatever. Like I wonder, did you feel any of that? I mean,
yeah, definitely up to right before we stepped on stage. We didn't prepare any of the set. We kind of knew what we were going to play and what we liked playing. But it was so unprepared to the point that right before we left for the festival, I was still trying to put songs in my USB. I was thinking like, oh, this could go off or this could work. But we kind of planned out the first two or three songs. And after that was done, it was, no man's land. But we had, so I felt really natural. I felt comfortable with him up there. And we're also, really long time experienced DJs. So it's really good to have some kind of level of unpreparedness to your set. Just to keep things fresh and interesting.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, I guess it really helps that you both have been DJing for a while. So kind of speaking into that, could you take us back to the beginning of your music journey and how you got started with music and everything?
All right. So my name is MYRNE. I'm based in Singapore. The reason why I even chose my name was because even before I got into music, I was an avid reader. I was like 15 or 16. I was in the public library just reading books, and there's this one book called How Music Works by David Byrne from Talking Heads. I thought this is kind of a cool book. I had no idea what the music industry was like, what the recording industry was like, but I just wanted to get into it. So I really got... At the same time, I was really getting into electronic music, very European, stuff like Eurozborn, and also like weird and experimental, like John Hopkins, and then some of the commercial stuff like Avicii and deadmau5, and that kind of threw me into this world when I was 17, 18, last few years of high school. And I said, okay, it doesn't seem that hard to produce. So I was watching a couple of Avicii interviews, and he said, oh, I use this program called FL Studio. And at the time, I thought to be a music producer, you had to have a big studio. You had to, had a big recording hall full of instruments and synthesizers. And he just said, I just use this one program, and he made hits. So I thought, that I could give it a shot. So I downloaded the program. I said, well, I need an artist name. And I thought that book I read a couple of years prior by David Byrne. So I thought, okay, I'll just steal the Byrne and just put M on it. So that's how I got the name, and that's how I got started my electronic music journey.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, sounds like there's quite a few inspirations for you, and the reading definitely influenced some of that kind of thought behind that name. Yeah, that's good to know. So then I guess like journey-wise, I mean, first of all, did growing up in Singapore, how is the Singaporean EDM scene for you? And like, how did that influence some of, would you say your artistry and your sound there?
I think we have some of the best techno and house DJs and disco in the world. It's very underground, lots of deep cuts, a lot of institutions that for the past 10, 20, 30 years have been, growing this generation of clubbers. But for the music that I was interested in at the time, which was more hip hop influence, like trap, bass, future bass, a bit of down tempo, I didn't really find a lot of people here doing that. So I went online, I went on SoundCloud, And now looking back, I feel like I was really spoiled growing up here because of the electronic music scene. There were clubs like Zouk, who had a 25-year history here in Singapore, booking, they would make a loss on every booking just to make sure this club would get phenomenal DJs from all over the world. And I have had the pleasure of going to Zouk a couple times in my youth. And also that kind of shaped my desires to pursue electronic music growing up. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And then I was reading kind of like, I was looking through, discography, and you released your first EP back in 2013, right? And since then,
oh my God.
yeah,
That was a
you're like
mistake.
real back. 2013, and now the year is 2024. And I have it written down here. It's like 2023, 2013, you had that, and you had Banger Project, and you worked with Oral Grime on I Want to Know, right? I read that, and then you had Faults with Grant, and I feel like this really explores the horizons of like different genres and sonic soundscapes. So, and then you currently in 2023 had Center of the World, which is like quite progressive. So my next question is kind of a two-part question. So what do you think has kind of influenced you throughout these stages? Like what has inspired you to kind of like venture out in these ways?
I think everything. I think that the trouble is I have too many influences, too many inspirations. I'll listen to a really good song and be like, wow, this is amazing. But that will happen maybe like 100, 200 times a year. And I guess just being in the universe and just like traveling around, meeting people, going to different continents, all of that is just incredibly inspiring to me. And always that influences the music somehow. I would say the biggest inspirations to my life are non-music. I don't listen to like an artist and be like, I want to make something like this. It's more just like, meeting some people or having like a intimate experience, or, going to a show, for example, or, having like a crazy holiday. But a lot of the times in my life when it came to music, I didn't really think or plan too much. I just went where it felt natural to me. Like over COVID, for example, as shows started to dwindle down, I didn't really feel comfortable, or I didn't really enjoy making that high energy kind of like trap and bass music anymore. So I just kept on going to what was natural to me, which was, down tempo, like lo-fi house, and progressive. And then as things started opening up, I used that sound that I was into for the past 4 years, and what if this became more energetic, or like how would I play this out live? So to me, it's always been a very natural progression. But I think to anyone else, to the outsider, it looks like a frenetic mess of like ADHD or something. Which I don't disagree
call it message. Is like it's curious, right? Like it's good. That's why we're here asking about it, because I feel like the artist journey is it's non-linear, and I like what you said about how like you just went with what's natural and you didn't really think too much about it. So my second part of the question really is, so us at Neon Owl, we really we support up and coming DJs and producers in their journeys, and one of the most common kind of topics that they ask about is branding. So I guess, how do you balance like just going naturally with what you want, and also just like putting forth that branding? Like, how would you think about that at that time?
I think on a very sobering and mundane scale, like people who say just be yourself, it only works if yourself is very interesting and appealing to a wide swath of the population. But as we know, that's not always true. So people create personalities, or people create versions of themselves they want to present to the world. And I think for a lot of people that could be helpful. But a lot of the times you see artists that live like that. It's like living two lives. You can never really truly be yourself, and then that tends to take a toll on the psyche and in turn the music. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. I feel like I'm still a very big proponent of the fact that, music speaks. If you're shy, sure. If you're introverted, sure. But if your music's really amazing and it connects with people from all over the world, I don't think you need a face or a funny personality, or, to do dances on TikTok. A lot of people And I think it's cyclical, right? In the past few years, when we're all isolated from ourselves, we're just endlessly consuming on social media. So people have devised methods of promoting music that are, more front facing, in the era of TikTok. Whereas if you remember a couple of years ago on SoundCloud, it was more music facing and more mysteriousness, like, oh, who is this guy? I like his branding, I like his artwork, let me follow him on SoundCloud. In these days, it's who is this guy? They're kind of good looking, attractive, they're funny. Let me follow them on TikTok, and then you discover the music. But I think at the end of the day, if the music doesn't hold up, then none of these branding and promotional materials really matter. I think my advice would just to be get really, really good at making music at all aspects of it, like all genres, all instruments, and I think success will eventually come.
Oh, okay. Thanks for sharing that for our producer, DJ friends out there. So curious about your current or like your most recent release, 2023 EP. You
Yep.
had Manila Killa on it, called Center of the World. It seems like it's more progressive. Tell us about the concept and thought behind that one.
Okay, so I think the track itself actually started as a cover of "In My Mind," the Axwell, Phoenix Paul, Ivan Go track, the one that goes like "In my mind, in my head." That really old song from, was it 2015 or 2014? So we wanted to make a cover of it. Obviously, we were inspired by current trends. You had "I'm Blue" on the radio. You had every tech house DJ flipping all these old R&B acapellas. So we thought, let's have that resurgence of the golden age of EDM, which was very central to our hearts. So we started that, and then we had the track. So the instrumental didn't really change that much. But we tried, I think, for a whole year to clear the sample, and we couldn't. So we got Run on it, and then it turns out Run sang better than what we were initially trying to do. But it was an original song now. But the song itself, yes, very progressive, very trance influence. Like I feel like he's also been on that wave. Like his music is very euphoric and emotional to begin with, and this is just putting up a notch higher. It still feels like him, still feels like me. Felt really natural to do.
Just like you two on stage.
Yeah.
Natural. Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So I guess what's next is we're wrapping up kind of soon, but I feel like New Year's is kind of a time to reflect and both from the past year and like what's going forward. So what's something that what are some of your favorite moments from 2023? That's part A of the question. Let's start there.
Okay. Well, so I'm a boy from Singapore, and I haven't, explored most of the US. And then last year, I had the incredible opportunity to support Jai Wolf on tour throughout the Midwest, the East Coast, and ending in Utah. And I think one of the most shattering moments for me was, just having having lunch at a diner called Bob Evans in Michigan. Like dead center, like it was Royal Oak, Michigan, dead center of the Midwest. And as a boy from Asia, you hear a lot of things like, oh, the Midwest or the South in America is always really mean, or but I was there and I was having lunch, and the waitress was just extremely nice to us. And it just felt like a crazy moment, I guess, like 10 years ago, just being born in Singapore, reading a book in the public library, and then now I'm in the middle of the Midwest, like playing electronic music to people. I felt just strangely grateful for the moment. Also, that waitress was really nice. I ordered a glass of coffee, all black, no cream, and then she comes and just plops a jug of it on the table, like a 2-liter jug. It's all yours, it's on the house. I'm like, what is this place? This is a magical place. So that was a nice moment. I think. And also in 2023, played a lot of shows. Played the Brooklyn Mirage, which is such a surreal venue. I think I clocked like 20,000 steps. I closed my rings twice, just trying to figure out where the green rooms were, where the bathrooms were, just exploring that whole venue.
It's a massive venue, right? 20,000?
Yeah, it's so big.
Wow.
Well, no. The Brooklyn Mirage, I think it's like 6,000 capacity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really big.
Mm-hmm. But you said 20,000 steps.
20,000 steps, yes.
Okay, got it.
That's a lot.
Including
Well,
during
because
your
we were there
set,
for
like after your set and everything.
before my set. After I had some homies pull up as well, so we were just like exploring.
Awesome. Cool. That's like huge props to you. But yeah, Brooklyn Mirage, definitely a legendary venue.
Yeah.
So the second part of that question was, what are you most grateful for right now?
Right now, oh, definitely family, friends. I think without my parents letting me, pursue this,
Mm,
and also, being just generally very supportive and always very hopeful. They would be hopeful about the music. Like that's the
mm,
crazy part. Like they won't be like, oh, you better work hard, or you better make sure your portfolio is in order. They're just like, oh yeah, I hope that's good.
mhm.
And yeah, I think that's been a big part of my life and the reason why I'm still doing it today. And honestly, why I'll keep doing it for the next 10, 20 years.
Oh, awesome. Have they always been like as supportive as they are now?
Definitely. Well, I wanted to drop out of university, and they're
Mhm.
like, "No, you're not doing that." So I'm like, "Okay, fine." But then looking back after I graduated, I'm like, "Whoa, I'm glad I didn't drop out because I would have just died or something."
Yeah.
Because I tried dropping out like a year after I picked up FL Studio, so
Mhm.
I wasn't really good. I wasn't good at all.
Mhm.
I didn't know what to do. I just thought like, oh, there's so much potential in this. Just let me do this thing. But it turns out you could do both. Like I juggle my studies and that, and yeah, kind of grateful for their guidance and advice.
Awesome. So then it was I'd assume are you doing music full time now or are you still
Yeah,
keeping?
still,
Oh,
still full time. So outside of DJing, there's a lot of production work. There's a lot of co-producing. There's like creating peripherals for other producers, like sample packs and all that. So I think it's quite a multifaceted industry. You can always find work.
got it. Last question of the night really is, what is coming up for MYRNE in 2024 and beyond?
So much, so much. Okay, well, on the music side, we're releasing a lot of records with a label that I've been respecting for the past 3, 4 years. It's This Never Happened. I can't really talk about like when the tracks are dropping, but
Mm,
um, I'm just really grateful to have finally found a home that's meant for the kind of music that I've been making for the past half decade, and also just being able to write and release what I want, which is mostly instrumental music. So yeah, just very grateful to have found a place and very excited for this year to come. I think it'll be really, really busy.
awesome. We're looking forward to that then. So thank you so much. This interview should be out in the next month or so.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, we'll keep you updated on that.
Cool. If there's anything you need to clarify or anything, just let me know.
Okay. All right. Take care then.
Myself down, they won't let me take a breath.